Time. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Kuji. Good evening, Sky. Welcome
Hey.
aboard. Welcome to Poly Talk with me two and Sky. Tonight we will be discussing um, poly and compatibility. I hope all of you guys had a great week and ready for some heated conversation as usual. And we are hoping for big crowd participation tonight. And we do have maybe some badges we should be handing out to some of our fans who always ask questions. So hopefully tonight they'll have some great questions for us. So if you guys want to give a brief summary of who you are, we're going to start with you, Kuji, because some of them
I
are
thought ladies
already
were first.
familiar with with Sky. Okay,
I thought
well,
I'm just
ladies
joking.
first then.
I'm
Oh,
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
okay. Well, the cool thing is I posted this to my Facebook page today for the first time. So hopefully we have some of my people come on. And then
Yes.
yeah, because we just got to open this up to the wider population out here. But
Yes.
welcome everyone. Hey Maritza. Um I guess my intro thoughts are that, like me too, I am poly to the truth, poly to the bone. And I am actually the thoughts I have about this love style is that this is the way we all should live. This is to me, this is like I know not everyone gets it and not everyone understands it, and we were raised a certain way and blah blah blah. But this is the way we should be. And I think living polyamorously is such a truth living way, like truthfully, like people in monogamy are afraid to tell their partners things, they're afraid to communicate, they're afraid to be who they are, they're afraid to have affection for other people. There's so much fear in monogamy that
Sky, you froze. I don't know if it's on my end. Can you
I
still
can
see
still
her,
hear.
Kuji?
Yeah, I can still
Oh,
hear it. See her.
okay. So I
yeah.
think it was me. Sorry.
um yeah, so I just think that polyamory is the way to live. It's probably like the minority of people, but I do think that as the future goes on, it's going to become the majority of loving in this world, and it'll probably be after I'm dead. To be honest, it'll take probably another 100 years to make this the primary way of loving, but it's happening, and people are getting smart and opening up.
Exactly.
Okay.
Kuji.
Oh,
We're
now
going
it's
to put you
now
in
I'm
the
speaking.
middle like a hot dog, you know?
Okay, I like being in the middle. Interesting. No. So my name is Kikuji Chagalia. I go by Kuji. I've been actively polyamorous. Wow, for about 12 years now. Yeah, about 12 years now. For me, I do believe that this is a beautiful way of loving. I've practiced this love style, like I said, for some time. I've always felt polyamorous. And for me, I know many people define polyamory, for their own personal experiences. But for me, it's just having the capacity and the desire to love more than one person and be romantically connected to more than one person simultaneously, where everyone knows and agrees. So I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's for everyone. Like I'm a firm believer in it's not for everyone, like polyamory. But what I will say, Scott, I agree with you that the concept and principles that make up polyamory, I think everyone should practice that, even in monogamy
Hmm.
as well as polyamory. Just the transparency, the effective
Hmm.
communication, the living your truth.
Hmm.
I do believe that that is what is needed in love and loving relationships. So, but yeah, but that's who I am. I don't know if I left anything out or not, but I'm pretty sure we might get into who I am further.
Hmm. Did I ever tell you that my daughter's middle name is Kuji Chagalia?
No, you never.
Yeah.
Man, I've been
Yep.
going through this life for 40 something, 41 years now, thinking that I was the only born Coochie Chocolate. So
Yeah.
that's really dope.
I've
Yeah.
seen a couple online, and I'm like, oh, I
Well,
thought I only knew one.
I see them online, but usually, and I'll reach out to them if I see it. I'm like, oh, is this a, what you call
Made
yourself,
up
or
name,
is that
yeah.
birth? Like, oh no, I just call myself this, or I changed my name to
Ah,
this. I'm like, oh, okay, okay. But
I
I was given this name at birth for a
Nice.
specific reason. So, yeah,
Self-determination.
that is
absolutely.
pretty
Actually,
cool.
so you do know that the name Coogee Chocolate doesn't necessarily it doesn't really mean self determination. Malala Karinga was in prison teaching himself. Uh, I would say polyamory, teaching himself Kiswahili. The literal translation for Coogee Chocolate means self chosen.
Oh, no, I didn't
Yeah,
know
which
that.
is which is interesting because, like I said, I got this name based off of how I was born. I was born because my twin sister and I we were too much premature, and my mother got sick. Went to the hospital in the early '80s. They would take you in the ER, admit you, and put you on your gurney, take you to the room. I came out in the hallway. My mother didn't push or anything. So at that time, my dad was like, "Oh, you're self-determined to be born." But knowing the literal translation, it's more fitting. I chose the time I wanted to be born, so he
Mm-hmm.
named me
Mm-hmm.
That
self-determination,
is
self-chosen.
Very
that is
cool.
a great story. I love
Yeah.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
love special birth story. I do have a special birth story
Yeah.
that'll be for another time. No,
Got
I can say it. Good evening, everyone. My name is Me Too Charles. I started this podcast, if some of you are new on here, because I wanted to have a conversation with my Haitian community because so much is taboo for us. And I wanted to share polyamory with them because I am very much passionate about polyamory. And a few years ago, almost 5 years ago, I realized that I was polyamorous to the core. I just didn't know there was a term or community for it. And a friend talked to me about it basically because I kept talking about what I want in life, how I want to love, and all that. And then he had the knowledge and he shared it with me. And that's how my poly journey started. So, and like you guys, I feel like I kind of agree with you, Kuji. Like, it's not for everybody, but everybody should practice the and live with the tools that polyamory offers: transparency, conversation. Because just today, I was just talking to an older client of mine. She's in her 70s. We weren't necessarily talking about polyamory. We're talking about relationship in general.
right.
And basically, we're just saying that we're doing so much better, but because our parents didn't have the tools to pass
Mm-hmm.
on to us, so we basically are learning on our own, and we give our kids better tools than they give us because we know better, so we're trying to do better. And um just being able to be transparent and have a good conversation with somebody, learning how to express your feelings and discerning how to express them as well, is just very important. So, yeah. But my birth story is I have some tattoos I kind of explain. But I'm a twin, I have a twin brother, and when my mom was pregnant, she had him first. That night, it was a big storm, and I was not coming out. I was just in there, like comfortable. So when I finally came, well, first of all, when she was pregnant with us, she had a dream that someone came from underwater, like a mermaid, came with this baby girl and handed it to her and told her how to name me. So that's where my name came from. She didn't know the name Air Meat. It was just given to her in her dream. So she named me that. And then the night of the birth, I was not coming out. So finally, when I came out in my sack. And in Haiti, it's a big thing in Haiti. They call that fête en coiffe. And basically, that means you are protected from a
Mm.
lot that will be coming at you from this world. And I've always been told
Oh,
that, like, I'll meet people. Like, I met I went to this lady named Sylvia in Savannah. One time I was visiting with a friend. And as soon as I entered, she looked at me. She's like, there are always guardian angels with you. And my mom used to always tell me that. So it's always been that story. And I've had so many people that will always tell me that. So that's the
Yeah,
quick story of my
that's
birth.
dope. And
Yes.
if you think about it too, the dream you say you were brought to your mother in water. I mean, you literally
Hmm.
were. That came true. You were brought to her in a sack.
Yep.
And so yeah, that's pretty dope.
Pretty much. Thank you. But yes, tonight we are talking about compatibility in general, but more specifically related to polyamory because we are polyamorists.
Hmm.
So, who would like to go first? What is compatibility to you? What do you see when you hear that?
I think
Well,
that's an
Coochie.
interesting. Oh, okay, I think that's an interesting subject in polyamory because I mean, for me, and I'll be honest with you, and I'll let everyone know, a lot of my thinking is usually different from what most people would think. I think, like for me, compatibility it differs from person to person because everyone invokes a specific type of energy within you. Like I could meet you, me too, and you provoke a different type of energy, which also promotes different exposure to things that we may do together because that's the energy we share, right? And
Yep.
then meet Sky, a month later, and she invokes a different type of energy in me, and now we're compatible. But because of what she and I enjoy doing together, right? But
Hmm.
we very well may not like to do that all together. So I think it's really interesting, and I don't know how much thought beyond what I just shared I've given to compatibility, but I think for the purpose of the conversation, I think that some compatibility needs to be had in polyamorous connections to progress into romantic relationships. You got to find commonality and you got to be aligned with what um, your your end goal is for that relationship because that relationship may be a little different than what it may be for someone else's, as I just mentioned. So,
Hmm. Okay.
I think for compatibility in poly, it's not as stringent, strict, can't think of the word.
mhm.
It's not as serious as in monogamy because I think for monogamous people they're really trying to hit all these points, right? So they have this like either written list or mental list of things that they're looking for in a partner or in a person. And I think with this love style, you don't have to hit all of them all the time because you can get
Yeah,
other components from other people,
absolutely.
so I don't have to be 100%. I don't think anyone's 100%. I don't have to be 80% compatible with somebody. I could be at least the main points, at least like the connection, the chemistry, some things that we like that are similar or what have you. And I'd be satisfied with that, as long as there's like good communication and what have you. But
Right.
you don't have to hit the whole 199 points that I have written down. If you can get a good 60% of my list, I am groovy, gravy. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
Yeah,
that's,
I think that's a great perspective. Just meet those
Yeah.
core,
yeah, yeah. The
those
core.
core
And then
points.
the thing about polyamory that I think is better, why it's better. Okay. For me, I'll put that in, is the fact that I feel like um you put a lot of energy into finding this perfect one person for you in monogamy. And there's so many beautiful people in the world, and you have this one life you're living. And the truth is, like, there are so many amazing experiences you can have with people. Do you know how many relationships or misadventures or people you had to cut off or couldn't go
Hmm.
out with or couldn't do things with because you had a boyfriend or a husband? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the reality
Girlfriend
of,
or wife.
or or they're a secret friend, or you just can't really like overly enjoy them. So I feel like that is a travesty to humanity, because the fact that I have compatibility with a coworker, for example, and we have to stay within these boundaries because I have this other partner that you can't have friends, you can't, like that's the part that I
Yeah.
don't like about monogamy, to be honest, is you can't be free. You can't like, oh, I love this person and I can't enjoy them. And I'm not talking sexually with everyone, but I'm just talking about in general in monogamy. It always seemed that you just couldn't even have a male friend. You know what
I
I
agree
mean?
with you.
And most of my
I'm sorry.
friends are male.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you, Sky. I was just sharing a conversation with someone earlier today when I was explaining how you do tend to miss out on relationships with the with that restriction that monogamy offers. So you do miss out on a lot of potential business partners. You miss out on a lot of potential best friends, soulmates, twin flame connections that may not be romantic or sexual in nature, like you mentioned. But you miss the opportunity of having and exploring that. And usually, those relationships are those relationships that were designed to create a better outcome for us, better us. And we miss out on those things, so we become stagnant in who we are and never reach our full potential because we didn't experience those things that we were supposed to reach that full potential of our purpose and destiny sometimes.
That's right.
Yeah, and to add to what you guys say, like I know I've experienced it. I was in a relationship at one point where I just kind of kept losing friends. Not that they would go away. I was asked to let go of people
Mhm.
because, oh, this person seems like they may like me. They may seem like they might want to sleep with me. I mean, look at me. No, I'm just kidding. no, no, so in all seriousness, though, so at one point, I just kind of it dawned on me. I'm like, wait a minute, my list of
Excuse
people,
me.
acquaintances, friends is shrinking quite a bit, and I was not happy with that. So I revolted. I'm like, I'm not doing this shit anymore because
Mhm.
I keep losing people for no reason. These people didn't do anything to me. So I will speak to whomever I want to speak to. I will remain friends with with people I want to be friends with, but not people you feel like I should. And honestly, it was all male
Wow.
friends. And honestly, I gravitate towards men in general. I grew up, I played with the boys when I was growing up. I was playing soccer all day with the boys. I really didn't have any girlfriends until I was like late teenage years. I ended up having a couple of girlfriends. And then now, as I'm an adult and I have a whole village of girlfriends, but the core of my friendships are still men. And I monogamy definitely put a lot of restrictions. I'm not saying all monogamists are like that, but a lot of times they get very insecure if you get too close to somebody, especially of the opposite sex, because that person may steal you away. I didn't speak to one of my best friends for a long time because the person I was with was very uncomfortable with that. And then after a while, I was like, fuck that. I will get back to my best friend, and you're just gonna have to take it, and whatever happens happens. So yeah, and compatibility for me at this point in my life, um what number one for me is emotional intelligence.
Oh,
That is something I look for in people because I have been through one bad experience that left a really bad taste in my mouth, but I never thought of things like that before. Before you were with somebody and everything, but I look at all that because people can be stupid and mask it very well, and then later on they throw tantrums like children,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I need to know that whether it's friendship or relationship, I need to know that that person, if we have a disagreement, we can talk about whatever's
mhm.
going on, conflict resolution, all of that. You need to be
Grown.
able, yes, you need to
Yeah.
be grown basically. So I'm just like, I am over that part. So if I notice, even like I look at people a lot on social media, how you act. Anybody that I start talking to, even with dating, I will start Googling you, finding you, because when you Google somebody, Facebook and all that kind of stuff pops up, and I look at your social feed to see what kind of stuff you talk about, how you talk about things, how you comment on things, to see if you worthy of being on my friend list.
Hello.
So,
Did you Google me? Me too. No, I'm
of
Hello.
just
course
joking.
I did. Of course I did. Nah, you are all over PBD. I didn't have to Google you. I already
I'm
knew you
just
were
kidding.
smart.
I kid. I kid.
But yeah, so compatibility is more than just the basic stuff for romantic relationships, but also sometimes, like I was sharing with Sky earlier this week as we were talking, I'm like, and you can be compatible with somebody on certain things but not on other areas, but you can still be friends or lovers or whatever. You don't have, just like Sky said, you don't have to be 100% compatible. As long
Yeah.
as there are some basics that are matched, I think it's fine. Like, there is somebody that I was with. We were together for a while. We were great when we started, and then eventually, um, we just drifted into different directions, and now we're good friends. We're good support for each other. We're just not romantic lovers anymore, but we are good friends, good partners. I count those as one of my relationships, because in the monogamous eye, they would not be comfortable with me and that person, the kind of relationship that we have. Um, and then I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, I think we are not compatible anymore to be lovers, but we are very well aligned to be great friends, to be great support for each other. So I don't know if you guys think, if you were compatible with somebody today, do you think that's a forever thing, or what does that look like for you guys?
I know
I
for
Well,
me.
firstly,
go
Oh,
ahead, Kuji.
oh no, you go ahead, Scott. I'm listening. I'm sorry.
I think no, I don't think people are compatible forever because people change. So I mean, when like I'm gonna keep going back and forth between monogamy and polyamory because I just don't know. Like I think that people who stay married or stay in a relationship for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, they're with that person, but there's different versions of each other that they're like, they probably have to re-meet each other and relearn each other and what happened over and over again. So I mean, there's a beauty in that as well. But the person that I was, last year or the year before that is probably a little bit different than who I am now. I mean, there's some core things about me that are very much the same, but I don't, I know I'm not compatible with certain types and certain people that I've been involved with 5 and 6 years ago, especially as I was new into polyamory, because I've learned myself and I've learned what I can deal with and what communication levels and people, places, things like just everything, especially in this new, polyamory is such a new way of living in this reality. So everything about our world is based on one partner, one on one. So you're learning that, oh, you can have this way and this, and it's just, it becomes a learning experience. And my first learning experience with polyamory was hierarchies. And it wasn't until I was a secondary to someone that I realized I don't like hierarchies at all. And so I wouldn't be compatible with anyone who follows hierarchies because I don't live in a hierarchical mind frame anymore. So, and that was a few years ago. So now, so yes, my compatibility has changed.
mhm.
To answer your question, I can echo some of what Sky said, or I will echo some of what Sky said. And I'll try to make my response quick because I can be long winded.
They
Um,
can be
I
long.
think
We're here to
I
talk.
think that So, like for me, to give you an example, well, to answer your question first, do I think compatibility is forever? I do not. And I don't think that it should be compatible forever because at the end of the day, if you're the same person you were 10 years ago today, that you are today, that means you haven't really grown. There's been no exposure
Mhm.
to anything new. And as we are exposed to different things, we tend to grow. Um, and for me, like, for example, I've been married to my wife. I'd say 17 years, but legally it's been 12 years. This May, it'll be 12 years. Um, and the only reason why I say we've been married 17 because our very first date, she spent the night in my house and has never left. So it's been 17 years that we've lived together, which is like a marriage. But no, so I remember just having early on conversations with her and saying that, we can either grow together or we can grow apart because I understood that most people tend to grow apart. My parents were married for 30 years and they divorced, and that's because they allowed themselves to grow apart. So do I think compatibility is forever? No, because the more we expose ourselves to things or to different people, the more we change, the more that we grow. Um, I will say what I think has helped my wife and I is I share with her we have three lives that we have to live together. One as husband and wife that we have to give 100% to. Another as co-parents to our children, because we do have children that we have to give 100% to. And one as individuals that we also have to give 100% to so that we're not losing our way. Because if I'm only pouring my love and interest and attention into you, you could pass away and transition. You can leave me or the kids. If we're only pouring our love and interest and attention to the kids, they're going to grow up and going to, move out and want to live their own life. What are we going to do at that particular time? We don't know who we are. So if we're giving that 100% to ourselves, that individuality, meaning that we're taking time and introspection, understanding who we are and exposing ourselves to something different, we're always growing. So we have to then relearn that individual. So that means that we may not no longer meet in that same level that we used to of compatibility. Now this is a whole new woman, which works a lot of the time because you're like, well, I get to know a different person, which is an opportunity to date again in a different way because now we can go on different dates than what we used to. So I don't believe that compatibility is forever or should be forever. However, I do believe that we should always strive to understand what our compatibility is with one another at that particular time as we grow.
Yeah. And another thing too, like on dating sites, you see a lot of people who say, I'm not looking to date people with younger children or things like that. And I'm like, you know what? It is valid. As being somebody with
Yeah.
younger children myself, I can see it. And then I'm also thinking like, I would not want to date somebody with maybe a 1 year old just because there's more restrictions there as far as your the way you
Time.
can move. Yes,
Mhm.
Right.
so I totally get it when people are like, oh, I don't want to date anybody with younger children, because literally most of my time is dedicated to my children. I'm a mother first, then I'm a business owner. I have two different businesses that I'm running. And, so that leaves me very little time for social life. As much as I would love to be spontaneous, that's something I see
Mhm.
a lot on, what you call it, on dating sites. Oh, I like somebody who's spontaneous and this and that. And I'm thinking, like, who is that spontaneous? Because I feel like if you have a full life, no matter if you were if you work for yourself, if
Or
you
not.
had grown children, right? Even if you had a very flexible job, you still have to plan your life. I can't always get up and be like, okay, I'm gonna go to Bali for 2 weeks,
Right.
just out of the blue. There's still some planning in your life that you have to do. So people who say things like that, I definitely know, no matter if even if we were compatible on some levels, we're not gonna be compatible on that level, because you're not looking for somebody who have children during the week. I don't have time to date. I don't have time to go on dates, not a coffee date, not anything, because it's work, home, children activities, children homework, bedtime, unless it's booty call time, like I don't have time for anything like that. So
You know,
but you
me too. I think a good question would be, like if the topic of conversation is coming up in polyamory and you're trying to court an individual, to ask, what does compatibility look like for you? What ways are you needing to be compatible in? Because I think that plays a huge part also, because you can be compatible in a many of different ways, but if it's not, like Sky was saying earlier, in those core areas, then it
Right.
doesn't matter what
That
our
part.
compatibility is, because we're not going to be able to progress beyond this, to be anything anyway. So,
And I
I think
think
that's a
that's
really great.
why I feel that's why people a lot of times um people see polyamorous people as being too
Loose.
detailed, because when we ask a question, it's not just a general question. We need to know little details, just like you said, Kuchi. Compatibility. What is compatibility
Hmm.
looking like for you? Because right now, like I said, I can't. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be compatible with somebody who's not looking to date somebody with younger children. So we have to go into details with every single question that is asked, so
Mhm.
there's no confusion, no assumptions. That's
Absolutely.
one thing we do not like, is assumptions, you know?
Right.
Mhm.
So,
Another thing about compatibility is you might meet someone who is like totally like, oh my gosh, they are so awesome. And you realize that you guys don't have time compatibility, you know?
Hmm.
Like how many people have you, or distance compatibility? Like if you live on the other side of Atlanta,
Right.
you are going to be a comet. I'll see you in a month or two because it's too far. I'm not traveling like that on a regular basis through this traffic out here. You could forget it.
right.
So,
Right. Which is
yeah,
why I
I'm not,
mentioned,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
which is why I mentioned, like, what does compatibility look like for you? What ways do you need to be compatible? And see, for me, I like to have specific conversations now of, listen, what exactly are you looking for? Are you specifically dating for this, or are you looking to connect with someone to have partnership? Or like, what's your reasoning behind wanting to connect?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you just out here willy-nilly just dating, that's a different story. But if you're intentionally trying to date, then yes, that conversation needs to come up, like, okay, how do you need to be compatible? And not to
Mm-hmm.
mention, like, for me, I found out a long time ago that people misconstrue attraction. And for me, my thing is, just because I'm attracted to you doesn't necessarily mean that I want to be in a relationship with you, or that I want to sleep with you. Like, my thing is, if I'm attracted to you, it's something about you that's drawing me to you, and I'm willing to explore to see what that is. Because I find that I may meet someone and we are attracted to each other, and we immediately think that we're supposed to be intimate. We immediately think we're supposed to be in a relationship, and we start to get to know each other, and we don't even like one another. You
Mm-hmm.
don't like my thoughts and views
About the world.
on life, yeah,
Yes.
on the world. And here it is, we established a relationship just because of an attraction, and we not really compatible for a relationship. So for me, I'm like, well, let me get to know you. Let's see, what your thought process are. Let's see what your emotional intelligence is like. Or if you even have the emotional bandwidth to even entertain me as a partner.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people want relationships, they want partnerships, but they may not even have that availability to provide, what's needed in a
Mhm.
relationship. So.
Mhm.
Exactly. I so I went on a date once with somebody, and we realized the distance just made it not compatible. Like, it was a great date, but we just could never reconnect after that.
Uh, are you being subliminal? Are we sending some subliminal messages out
What's going
here?
on here? What's going on
Sky,
here?
help,
What is
Sky.
going on here?
Shots fired.
What is
Shots
going on here?
fired. Oh, at
Hmm.
whom?
Well, we,
We need
she and
more
I, Scott,
info.
she and
The
I,
people
we went on
talk.
a
The
date.
people want to know.
We went on a date. This was before the pandemic, I believe. Was it before the pandemic?
I
I
think
can't
it
remember.
was
Or it may have been like
no
right after things kind of. Yeah,
after
I think this was kind of like right after when things kind of getting a
started
little bit more
opening
lax.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a great date, and we lived like maybe almost 2 hours apart.
Yes.
And we both
Okay.
have small children, both have demanding careers, and it was just like, are you free this week? Like, nah, I ain't free or anything. Okay, well, let me try to. You got this going? No, I'm not open at that
We
time.
kept
Nah, bro.
trying, and it's like, yeah, this
Yeah,
is not gonna work.
Yeah,
that's real.
I'm
That's
trying
You
to.
real.
know?
I'm trying to put me out there. I
I
see
Hey,
you being
actually,
listen.
listen. No.
I didn't know if I could say the name, so
I
I'm like,
I told you I live and love out loud. So
it's okay.
you know,
Thank
I
you.
actually, those are questions that I do ask because I got to
yeah,
know like where you live. Like if
yeah,
you are on the southern side of Atlanta, then it's a good idea, for me.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because anything above like the
The
city is just,
perimeter.
it's like, yeah, it's just a whole different world. And it's
It
like,
is, and traffic
especially
is.
if literally for me more so now, like I don't really want to entertain um light, like I don't want to just go out on a date with somebody and be like, oh yeah, that was fun. I kind of like want
Yeah,
to entertain like something serious, but proximity is real,
yeah.
and
It absolutely is.
you
And
know
time.
and time, and it's like, well, what do you do? Well, like you have to have these conversations. I think I'm talking to some guy who's like a UPS truck driver, and he works like 7 days a week for 12 or 13, 15 hours a day. And yeah,
That's
okay,
crazy.
that's
yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
So it's like you can't really get nowhere with someone who is always working, always unavailable, or by the time they finish working, they're tired. You know what I mean? Or they got their other responsibilities. So
yeah.
yeah, that becomes a tricky part.
And that's
hmm
why I think, like you said, you rather date with intentions for building a relationship. I think those are really great conversations to have when you're meeting someone. Because, like for me, I'm very much open, and I think I share this with anyone that I connect with. I say, listen, you know, I'm not looking for anything in particular, but I am open to the connection being romantic. I'm open to it being something sexual. I'm open to it being something strictly platonic or something that encompasses it all.
hmm
Which means that I'm holding space for whatever the possibilities of our energies together, collectively creating this connection. But sometimes it might not be as immediate as most people want it to be. And as
Right.
you two may know, in polyamory, it's a lot of, I like to call them popcorn relationships, meaning that you meet and you're automatically in a relationship. And people
Right.
kind of expect that to be the case because you're polyamorous, and just because you're poly, meaning that we're supposed to be in a relationship. No, that's not what that
That part.
means. But I realized just, and I don't know if anyone was on the call earlier and heard me mention, like I've been practicing, this love style for 12 years now, and I've learned the hard way because when I first got here, it was like, oh, I like her. I'm interested in her. I want to be in a relationship with her. And that relationship probably lasted 2 weeks. Not for real, but so it it can be a very interesting thing. So having those real conversations about what are you looking for and how does the compatibility for that type of relationship or connection look for you?
I mean,
Um,
I think we've all had our fair share of stories when we first started. I mean, when I first started as a polyamorous, just kind of like the way I started this podcast, the first day I really stumbled. And then, things get better. You make mistakes, you learn from them. And now I'm learning to really take my time getting to know somebody. And I went through the phase where I just wanted everything to be casual. I want nothing to, like, don't talk to me about purpose. You know how people are like
mhm.
dating with a purpose or whatever. Do not right. Do not talk to me about anything like that. I just want to go out, let's have some fun. If it comes to be sexual, it is sexual. If the sex is good, let's keep it moving. If not, yeah, let's keep it moving. So yeah, I mean, I went through all that stage, and now I am in a space where I am more thinking. Now I'm not saying relationship is all I'm looking for or serious relationship is all I'm looking for, but I'm in a space where it's kind of like I will accept whatever it is. I'm not putting a label on it. I'm not pushing for it to be something. I let it develop into whatever it's gonna be,
Mhm.
and that's pretty much it. But also, like you guys know, most people think, oh, because you're polyamorous, you're not looking for anything serious. It's like
That.
that's not what I said. I said
Right.
I don't want to get married. I said I don't want to live with somebody, but I want serious relationships.
Mhm.
Just different things. But yeah, I'm learning to take my time and truly see if we're at all compatible. the people that I meet. And I found people that, conversation started good. And then all of a sudden, it's kind of like, oh, no, thank God we took our time talking on the phone, talking on the app, whatever it is. And then even by the time you meet, it's kind of like, because sometimes you can have great vibes. Like I remember there's this guy, I can't remember which website I met him on, but one of those dating apps. But
It's not me this time, is it? No, I'm just joking.
no, not you. So we agreed to, we talked. It was good conversation, nothing too exciting, just decent conversation. So we finally agreed to meet for breakfast. I think I'm a breakfast date kind of person because I'm an early riser. Um, so we went out, and as soon as I met him, first of all, he lied about his height. Um,
Oh,
right,
Wow.
right. He said he was a certain height, definitely taller than me. And then I meet dude, I'm like, with heels on,
You looking down on
he's almost, almost, okay? Now, I don't have anything against short people, but don't tell me you're a certain height when you know you're not, because
them?
eventually
Right.
we're gonna meet. So you're gonna look like a liar. So that was first red flag for me. I'm like, liar. Okay, let's go sit down and have breakfast, whatever. So we sit down to eat, and the whole time he was trying so hard to impress me. And every time I ask a question, when I ask you specific questions, I want specific answers. Don't just like be all over the place. And I will ask you until you answer. And he couldn't answer some of the questions. He would just be all over the place. Oh, I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm this, I'm that. So after that date, I sat and thought about it. I'm like, I knew right away I didn't want to see him, but I had to find a nice way to say, sir, I will not be seeing you, without his feelings hurt. He was very hurt, but I was like, oh well. But I
Just
put it
breaking
in a
folks'
very,
hearts.
I know, right? You have to break some hearts sometimes. So I told him, I said,
Ralph.
right. I could have been like, you liar, whatever. I said, well, I don't think this is gonna work, or something like that. But I was very nice about it, and he was not happy.
Mm.
But
We have a question here. What is the definition of a serious relationship?
basically, it is what is serious to you.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, in
that's
some
subjective.
Yeah.
exactly in some world, serious relationship for somebody can mean, I want you to move in with me. I want you to help take care of my bills. I want
Oh,
to have a ring. I want you to claim me as your girlfriend or your partner or whatever. I mean, it can be very different. Serious relationship for me is somebody that I can be very vulnerable with, open up about certain things, most things with. Um, Not necessarily for me to see you every day, or you be on me or I be on you every day. It's more, it's really just a connection. And that's not something that you can force. It's something that comes naturally, organically. So to me, it's somebody that I can totally open up with no fear of, I guess, them using anything against me, or yeah, basically be vulnerable with, maybe.
mhm. I agree. I agree.
I think one of the things that I don't like about monogamy, and the reason why I'm getting ready to say what I'm going to say is because of the question that was asked, like, what's a serious relationship? I think society has really warped our understandings of what relationships are. Because we automatically are taught that we have to have a serious relationship. In most communities, you're taught that, oh, you got to go to college and find your husband or wife, and at college you're 18 to 22 years old. You know what I mean? Like, you still haven't even understood who you are as an individual. You know what I mean? But you limit yourself because not knowing who you are, you only have these type of connections and relationships, and you very well may not be compatible with that individual. So now you're growing with this person that you don't even like again, as I mentioned earlier, and you're missing out on so many different life experiences that don't help you to move to that next stage. So that the serious relationship, for me, I believe that what people should do is allow whatever your energies together with that person to dictate what that serious relationship is going to be, because it could be a serious platonic relationship, it could
Right.
That
be a
part.
serious romantic relationship, it could be a serious sexual relationship. When I say serious, meaning that consistent, and not
Right.
necessarily like the
Mhm.
intensity of the relationship, but just the
Yes.
consistency of that relationship. um and so but people miss that, because we automatically assuming that, oh, you got to be my person now, you got to be
Yeah.
my life partner, when
Right.
I'm supposed to be your life business partner, I'm supposed to be your
Mm.
best friend,
Mhm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily your romantic partner,
Well,
because now we're
another.
failing.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to
Oh
cut
no,
you off.
because now we're failing, and now we can't even speak to each other, because we explored a connection that really wasn't meant for us either at that time or for us at all.
Right.
Exactly.
So
Right.
yeah,
And I think that, you always hear like, oh, I met my soulmate. And they look off into and people don't realize soulmate is not the definition that the TV screen shows
it
us. I
is
mean, your
not.
soulmate, like my mother was my soulmate. And
Anyone can be your soulmate,
right.
really,
It
if
could
you're
be
willing and open to be.
anybody. And it doesn't have to be like this, like you're getting married to them type of thing. But I actually have a platonic partner that is very much a part of my life almost on a regular basis. We communicate daily. My car went down and he totally like activated and got me another, like one of his other cars to use while my car is being repaired. And you know it's been great. Like it's been like, like that kind of support you need when you're like, oh shit, what do I do now?
Right.
And it's a platonic relationship, and most people don't understand that that's possible. And oh, he must be trying, like when I
Oh,
start.
that's even possible without sex.
Right. Oh, you must be you be putting it down, and all this kind of stuff. And no, not at all.
Or you must be stupid if you're doing all that for her and you're not sleeping with her. What, like,
Right,
you
right.
know?
And the thing
Uh,
is, it's like, I honestly feel like folks are so dumbed down when they think that way about human relationships and human interaction. I just feel like there's an idiot button that people, pushed, and they just don't evolve past. Because most people who say that to me, they actually have these types of relationships in their own life. They have these amazing, oh, that's my girl. Oh, that's, they have these great personal, like, oh, we go way back, that kind of thing. So, duh, this is the same situation. But, you know, that part. And then the other part is the over sexualization of everything. Like, if it's not like, I think this person who said, what is the definition of a serious relationship? For a lot of folks, and I'm going to say mostly monogamous, it is not serious unless it's sexual, you know?
or
So,
unless it's going somewhere, like the
Right.
relationship escalator.
right. So if
Yeah.
you're not, and a lot of people are in relationships and they're in great relationships. I've had a good friend of mine was in a great I mean, this guy would do anything to help her. He was a great guy. And she ended the relationship because he didn't want to get married. And I didn't agree with her on that, but of course, that was her choice. But and now they're like sworn enemies. Like she hates him. And I was like, how did you go from this wonderful person being involved in your life, loving him, they were living together, they had a kid together, and she was like, well, I just got to be married. I just can't just be playing house for the rest of my life. And I just was like, wow, what a missed opportunity that you could have still been together. Like he was just adamantly not. He was married previously and he just didn't want to get married anymore. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe that this guy is so great. And you don't, I didn't agree
You
with
let
that.
him go because of a
Yeah.
piece
But
of
The
paper.
ultimatum.
but I think honestly, everyone has their choice to decide what they want for their life, though, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, I get it, because the only thing that I probably would disagree with that situation, though, Scott, is if you had the conversation with him not you, but this person had the conversation with that gentleman about this is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting the relationship escalator for it to go here. And I'm with you for this long period of time frame and it doesn't go there. After I've told you that and you agree that that's what you were interested in, then I got a problem with that because you're misleading and
Right.
you lied.
Of course.
But
But
you
you can
can't
change your
expect.
mind.
Well,
People can
that's yeah.
change their mind.
You absolutely can. A person can absolutely change their mind. But if you meet someone, and I'll give you an example because I've dated women and they're like, oh, I want X, Y, Z. And I'm like, well, I'm not X, Y, Z. That's not who I am as an individual. It's not who I am as in my core. And they're like, oh, but I still I'll date you. And in my ignorance, I'm like, okay, let's date. And then down the line, they're like, oh, well, I thought you would change to be this. Like, no, I told you from the start, this is what I was, this is what I wanted, or what I didn't want, or what I wasn't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if she explained to him that, listen, I want marriage, and he agreed to that or agreed to still dating her, which I think is an issue too. If you know
Right.
that this is what this woman wants and you still choose to date her, knowing that you're not going to give her what the end result she's looking for, then shame on you.
I
But
I
I'm
agree
saying, go
with
ahead.
you, Coochie, but how many times now? I have been in monogamous relationships my whole life up to my divorce, right?
Mm-hmm.
How when have we ever discussed what we truly wanted in a relationship, right? It's like you start going out with the person and it's like either he says, do you want to be my girlfriend? Oh, you my
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend now, or she says, what are we? And
What are we
whatever.
doing? What are
Right.
we
Yeah.
What are we
doing?
doing? What is this? And then so when those things pop up and even if the other person wasn't ready, then they feel pressured into saying, oh, we're this or whatever, right? So there's always the assumption in monogamy
Yeah.
that once you start dating and you say, I'm your girlfriend, you're my boyfriend kind of thing, it's assumed it's going towards marriage. Do we ever really have a clear conversation? Now that we're grown, I feel like we know better. I definitely have those conversations, and those are
Yeah.
actually first conversations for me with anybody. This is what I want. This is what I do not want. I don't want marriage. I don't want cohabitation. Those are the two things I always put up front. Um, but I feel like in your friend's case, it was a monogamous relationship. Did they really have a conversation? People don't have conversations about where they want to go with the relationship.
Mhm.
They don't have conversations about, somebody just asked something about um, getting tested and protection. They don't have conversation about uh, testing and using protection and all that stuff. The second that they decide we're boyfriend and girlfriend, if they were using protection, it comes off. Do you get tested? I would guarantee you 9 times out of 10 they don't in monogamy,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
It's just it's only enough for you to say you love me, I love you, and then we just keep it moving.
And now I'm
Can I make
That's
clean.
it.
this? I
And
like to
now
make a
I'm
small
clean.
interjection on just that question because I just see it. I saw it here. One thing
Mm-hmm.
I can say that I absolutely love about the ethically non-monogamous community because it's in
Mm-hmm.
most of these communities
Mm-hmm.
um, versus monogamous communities that I've been a part of is um, safe sex, protection, STIs, STD. They're discussed heavily. Like
Yes.
it's like
Mhm.
when I was in just monogamous groups, with mainly the population is monogamous people. You hear about people wanting to have sex,
Right.
about wanting to hook up, but we are intentionally speaking about being safe,
Yes.
and second, and I love that about the polyamorous community, the
Mhm.
ethically non-monogamous community as a whole. So I just want to put that out
Mm-hmm.
because I do see.
Yes.
So for
And
me,
mm-hmm.
it's a topic of conversation, and one thing I can say that
Always.
I've seen on a regular basis, not just with myself and potential partners, but with people that I know, is even okay, we can have let's go get a tested date, or
Yes.
let's share each other's, let's share
Emails.
our results together,
Mhm.
with each
Right.
other, so we can see what and when was the last time you was tested. It can't be like
Mm-hmm.
5 years, so those are really great conversations that I have in the beginning of connections with people. So yeah, that's my
Always.
little bit.
Yeah, always. Because those are conversations that we should have even as monogamous people.
Hmm.
But
Mhm.
we were never told that that was part of the package, you know. You don't
Mm-hmm.
talk about sex, you don't talk about testings. You don't, if you ask your partner to go get tested, all of a sudden they're gonna be like, oh, do you have something? What? Oh, or do you not trust me? Is that like, they probably would make you feel guilty for even
Hmm.
asking to go get tested? Like, I'm pretty sure,
Shit.
like, my
You ain't gonna make me
clinic,
feel guilty.
I know. I'm pretty sure my
Yeah.
clinic knows my face by now. Like, I'm always in there. Oh, another test today. It's 3 months. Like, give me another test. Like, but those are conversations that you have when you meet people and you choose to engage with them sexually. And then that's, and always we get asked those questions a lot as polyamorous, because they're always like, oh, how about sex? Oh, people must have all kinds of STIs and everything. First of all, nobody should be shamed for anything that they might have, right? And second of all, we talk about it, and no, people are not just sleeping left and right without talking about it. Most
Yeah.
people go get tested before they even engage with each other. But
Hmm.
at the second that you choose to even kiss somebody, you are at risk of catching
Yeah.
something. People
Indeed.
don't even
And
realize
most
that.
and most people in the ethically non-monogamous communities, they're pretty upfront about,
Yes,
what's going on with their health. So, which is a beautiful thing, because now you can make a
Mm-hmm.
decisive decision whether you want to engage or not.
exactly.
So,
You make an informed decision. You're
Mm-hmm.
not just like, somebody doesn't just guilt you into
hmm,
doing it or not doing it.
right,
But like I said, the second that you decide to kiss somebody, you are exposing
yeah,
yourself to whatever might be out there. Because people always think, oh, you must have penetrative sex in order for you to catch something. No,
yeah,
ma'am, no, sir.
right.
So, but
Yep.
yeah, we have a lot of participants tonight, guys. We see all your comments. Thank you. Hi everybody. Marie, Chrisley, Maritza, Kasan, Betty, Regine, um, Rudy. Thank you. Rudy's always asking questions. I love it. Keep the questions coming. We have a few more minutes. But yeah, all in all, I think we had a pretty good conversation around compatibility.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And
Yeah,
there's just so much more. There's just so much more.
I
yeah.
know.
It's definitely polyamorous conversations are usually like really in depth.
Did it freeze on your
Like,
end?
No.
who, me?
Oh, I think it's
Mm-mm.
me.
Oh,
Okay.
oh. But I
I
was just
missed
saying
out.
that, it's all because there's so much to this lifestyle that people are not aware of and
Mm-hmm.
unknowing about. So, I love that I could talk for hours about polyamory. Like, I
Me
absolutely
too.
love. I'm very passionate about my love style. Um, and I want people to be really informed about what polyamory means, and not just what they see in the media.
Exactly. Even if
Because
it's
it's very
not for
it's
you,
Yeah.
misportrayed.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know, so
it's,
Coogee, I
yeah.
have a
it's
question for you.
yes.
What or how do you determine when you are saturated? And
When
we might
I've
need to
so
explain what that is for the folks who don't know.
Okay, okay,
Right, right.
so in this community, the ethically non-monogamous community, saturated is when you've met that capacity. For me, what that means is I've reached a emotional bandwidth limit where I cannot go beyond that, meaning that I can't express and share love emotionally with someone outside of who I'm already emotionally connected to. Now, for me, how do I know when I'm at that limit? Honestly, I can't really say I've explored my polysaturation as it used to be referred to back in the day, because I've never really dated more than one other person outside of my wife. So I feel I can entertain more than that, emotionally and physically, but I've never really had the desire to, because I don't desire to have a bunch of women in my life like that. I mean, for one, I'm a father of four women already, and I live with five of my daughters as well as my wife, and then I have a host of sisters. So I'm like, I already got a bunch of women in my life anyway. But no, I've never really explored what my polysaturation is, but I would think that it would probably be no more than three. And how I would know that, because it's already looking at the amount of time that I have throughout the
Mhm.
day. Because one, I'm very much an individual that loves my me time. I tell everyone that I love me first, and I
Mhm.
pour love into me first, and everyone else. Like I say, that my love is like a two-sided coin, right? Meaning that first side, I'm pouring everything into myself and servicing Coogee first, right? Um, the flip side of that is that I'm willing to share that same love that I'm pouring into myself with others. So everyone is pretty much getting that overflow love. And I know that sounds kind of bad, but because I pour so much love into myself, that overflow love is a great amount for other individual people that I choose to love. Um, but that, like I said, one side is a selfish side where I'm loving me first, but the flip side of that is a selfless side, because I'm willing to do and pour just as much love into you, as a partner. So I think as I start getting to that second partner, that third partner, I'm looking at, okay, how much time do I really have? You
Mhm.
know, how much can I really, how can I really show up emotionally, for more than these two people already outside of my wife. So that's when I started to realize, okay, yeah, you might be getting close to that saturation threshold. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Someone said, oh, Rudy said, how do you feel and what are your thoughts about some women, men who feel threatened when you are around their husband, wife, or boyfriend
uh,
or girlfriend?
um to me, honestly, that's not a me problem, so I don't really entertain it. That's a them problem. Because my thing is, and that's not even to try to sound, arrogant or smart. Now, what it is for me, I do any and every, and people that know me know this. I do everything in and out of love, meaning that you're going to get respect from me, you're going to get love from me off the bat. I don't care if you're a stranger or you someone that I've known all of my life. So if I'm not doing anything negative towards you and you feel threatened by me because I'm polyamorous, then that's a you problem. That's something that you haven't dealt with within your own. That's your own insecurities. That's not mine. And one thing about me is I'm not going to let you live my life and live yours as well. So I don't really entertain it.
I agree with that answer. I would definitely anyone who feels threatened, most likely if someone has that type of energy, it's going to
Hmm.
affect me, so I'm just going to probably retreat and just move on and move away. Because if someone is coming near me, or if I have to deal with someone who has a partner who's like that, I'm not interested, because it just feels like drama to me, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I don't entertain it at all.
And I believe in understanding people's boundaries. Like if I do know you or I see you on a regular basis, I've had either a conversation with you about your boundaries and my being polyamorous, or I have an idea, if I know that you're monogamous, that you have boundaries. So I'm not going to even operate in a specific manner, either with the particular person or around that individual person because of their monogamous boundaries. So like, yeah.
I don't know if I've ever had anybody approach me on that, but I definitely am mindful um, of, people who have husbands, because I wouldn't want any wife to think that just because I'm saying hello, because I'm a hugger, first of all. My community knows me. Like, I see, Sky, you were at an event with me last weekend, right? I got hugs from everybody and I hug everybody, right? So if somebody feels a certain way about me hugging their husband because that's how I say hello to my people, if you don't talk to me directly, like you, Kuji, it's a you problem, ma'am. You have a problem with me hugging your husband. You tell me directly that you don't want me to hug your husband, and I won't hug your husband. And unfortunately, if your husband can't speak for himself, you know, and tell
He
me,
doesn't. He needs to block the hug when you're coming towards him. Like,
right,
whoa.
unfortunately, I would love for your husband to be able to speak for himself, but obviously, if you're speaking for him, he is not capable of speaking for himself. I will
Trash.
retreat because I don't want drama. Um,
No.
but I've never really had any issues. But I am very mindful because I mean, some people they can't even like my post because they are afraid of retaliations from their partners. You know, why you
Actually,
liking her
someone told
posts?
me that. Someone told me that he was looking at something I posted that was poly. He said,
That's true.
"Well, being as though that I'm monogamously married, I didn't want to like your post because I'm married and I don't
Mm.
want my wife to see me liking your
I
stuff."
used to deal with
Like,
that a lot.
and I'm
Exactly.
just like, well, it also, in my mind, it also means that maybe there's something that you are exploring in your thoughts that needs to be watered. So,
Yeah, I'd get a lot of. I used to get a lot of DMs, and still kind of do, but I'm not as active on social media as I used to be. But I would get at least 4 to 5 messages a week, just from people like, "Oh, I saw your post. I didn't want to say anything on it, but I kind of agree with that, or I believe in this, and my partner just doesn't." And I was like, I
mhm.
posted because I want you to understand that there's alternative ways to live and love. you know. But you guys, I do got to jump off. I got to get my
Yes.
my little one situated.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much, Kuji, for coming on board. We may stay here for just a few more minutes to talk with people. We thank you. Thank
Absolutely,
you so much for
it was a
being
pleasure.
here.
It was definitely a
Hopefully, we'll
pleasure
have
speaking
you
with you
and
again
guys.
at some point.
and let's plug
Absolutely.
Black Poly and Dating.
Oh, poly black and dating.
Oh,
Poly Black
yes.
and Dating.
Yeah,
Y'all, it's a
absolutely,
Facebook group,
absolutely.
very active. Y'all check it out and you can learn some things.
It's a dating
But
group that was created about 9 years ago, for the
mhm.
purposes of people who look like us to be able to date with people that look like us, that have those same beliefs and ideals and understandings of what polyamory means. We've created a space for them to do just that, to find love or partners who are compatible.
Yes.
Exactly.
so,
Back to
so
compatibility.
but yeah,
Yes.
but I appreciate you guys having me on. I know it's been a while since I've had an opportunity to speak about polyamory, just outside of just normal conversation with friends and family. But I appreciate you guys having me here. And I hope that, my 2 cents was beneficial and
Valuable.
someone, felt like it was worth hearing today.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Kuji. You have a
You're
good
most
night.
welcome. Thank you guys. Everyone have a great evening. Now,
You
I don't know how to leave this thing, but I'm gonna figure it out. There we go.
too.
Have a good
I'll remove you. You too. Yes.
Cool.
But yeah, so I want to shout out to everybody who's here. I feel like there are a couple of comments that were made that I wanted to address because I don't want people to think that we don't see them when they make a comment. We may be in the middle of the conversation and it's too juicy to kind of cut it off. Um, yes, Marie said aquaf. Yes. Um, okay. Juicy, loving, full of life. Me too. You sure is not to love. But yeah, so basically, people were just agreeing on some of the stuff. And yes, thank you guys for supporting. Make sure to share the live sometimes when you're watching, share with your friends. Now, I don't know if you're going to get backlash from sharing something polyamorous because people are going to be like, what are you into? Una kray kunya? This is a Creole thing, like to just talk about what you call it. What? How would I describe kray? Kray is like what Haitians refer to as an orgy party,
Oh, yes.
but in even a more degrading manner.
A whole mess.
So it literally, I mean, some people they don't care. That's pretty much what they said. And guys, as I was talking to Sky earlier, somebody sent me a video of Kenya. I can never say her last name, Sky.
Kenya K. Stevens?
Okay, well, I always try to say the whole K, Kiloko or something.
Oh, Kilolo. I think it's,
Kilolo.
yeah.
Okay. So she had sent me, she's like, I understand why you're having this conversation for our community. These comments are just outrageous. So I went to see the comments because it was a Haitian person that posted that video. And my Haitian people were under that post. Oh my goodness. If you guys saw these comments, they were calling her all kinds of names, whore, slut, the guys are gay, and this
Ah,
and that. The For the Brother Husband show on TLC.
yes, yes, yes. I can't wait to see it.
Well, I don't have TV like
Did it
that.
did it start already?
Yeah, I think they already had their
Oh, I'm
first
on it tonight.
episode.
I'm on it tonight. I'm gonna
I
look
would
for it.
like
I'm
I
on
would
it
like to
tonight.
watch it. Yes.
It's
But
my
I
whole
don't know.
dream.
I don't know where I could catch it for free because I'm not paying for some subscription.
Me either. I'll find out and let you know because
Please
I find
send
these
me
shows.
send me the link because I would like to watch the whole thing. Kenya, we both follow Kenya. But yeah, those comments were just outrageous. They were talking about abominations. They're calling her Bouzin, and
What
the
does that
guy
mean?
Bouzin is a whore. That's just a harsh word. I mean, just like a whore is,
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. You know, like folks who go into those realms when they start hearing about stuff like this, I just wonder, do they actually like sex? Are they satisfied with their life? Is their husband happy with them? Like, are they like sometimes I think there's like a little bit of unrealisticness going on because it really just can't be, you just can't be that upset about people living their own lives. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Rudy
Yep.
says, many people come to me because of my comments, questions every week, asking me why I'm so interested in this group. People will judge you very quickly without understanding your motives.
You're perfectly right. Yep.
Yeah.
So, especially our people, I don't want to say just our people, because even in the United States, we are going through that. I mean, I've seen some of the American comments towards that group of people, and it's like, it's so sad. Just because you don't agree with something doesn't mean that, you have to call them names. First of all, those people, they never really take the time to understand what it is. They just be like, oh, no, no, this is ridiculous. This is so wrong. This is that. Like one of the guys, I had to make one comment. Typically, I just keep it moving because that's not where I want to spend my energy. That's not where I want to waste my energy rather than spending. But one of the guys, he's like, oh, basically the guy wanted a man and she wanted to give him a man instead of leaving him. So she gave him another man. Right. So
Dave?
basically they're assuming what's his name? The husband. Uh I keep forgetting his name. And Tiger, that they're together, Carl and Tiger.
Oh, okay. You're back on the show.
Yeah, back on the show.
Oh, so there she gave her husband a man is what really is
Yes,
going on.
pretty much. And I'm like, so I had to say something. I'm like, where did it say that the men were together? It never said that. They are not together.
Ego. A lot of it is ego. A lot of it, most of it is cognitive dissonance. Because when you're presented with new information and it makes sense, something in your mind, am I geeking out? It looks like
Clicks.
my,
Yeah. I don't know if you're moving.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I think it's
Anyway,
better.
cognitive dissonance is people just hear information and their brain does not click to make it work. They still stuck on this is the way it's supposed to be. And
Right.
anything outside of this is the way it's supposed to be is all the way wrong.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
yeah, and then you live in this and that's what's happening to a lot of people in regards to like transgenders and even just gay people in general and polyamorous people. All of these quote unquote marginalized communities are living their best life now more so than ever, and folks still just can't get with the program. You know what I'm saying? And
Exactly.
it is what it is.
Yeah, do you? Chrisley said, I honestly don't care. I love all people and respect their choices. Exactly. And Christy, thank you. Great discussion, ladies and men. Thank you so much. Yes, people who don't understand act like it's a big orgy or something. And people hear what they want to hear, said D. Thank you. Thank you guys for being here. I don't know if you have other things to add, Sky. It's been a long day.
Yeah. Mhm.
Next week, we're going to bring more discussions for you. We have so many things we want to talk about. We get so excited every week about what we're going to talk about. And we already have so many things lined up for the next discussion. So we want to thank you guys for your support. Eventually, the plan is to put it on a radio podcast kind of thing, like Spotify and everything. Um, but that way you can always go back and listen. Even with the live, you can always go on YouTube, on Facebook, and find the live and listen to it. Even if you weren't here for the whole conversation, you can always put it in the background, get some information. um, it's always good to get information. I feel like,
Mhm.
even if it's not something that you want for yourself, knowledge is power, and it
Absolutely.
helps you on how you interact with people, how you treat people, and all that. And I think those conversations are very important because it helps us have more empathy towards other people. Um, I guess as we're getting older, we're realizing so many of us are so different. I grew up in a country where people actually made fun of you if you had a birth defect or something, like if you were handicapped, you were given a name based on that. My little brother had a name because he had, I think, typhoid when he was a baby. And so he kind of limps on one side, and he had a whole name based on his, it's things like that. So as we're getting older, we're realizing, man, some stuff were really messed up, and we realize everybody is different. There's a lot of people that are different. I look at my little one. He's crazy. I call him my crazy child. He's just all over the place. I know he's different. And like, we have to have more compassion for people when they are not like us or like what we think the standard is.
Yeah.
And if we don't have conversations, we will never know about those things.
All right. A friend of mine texted me. I don't think we'll be able to cover this tonight, but she said, I need y'all to do a quick beginner convo right quick so I can catch up. So I got your message. And so we definitely probably want to do an intro to poly for the new folks who are like, what did they say? Did
Right.
they say?
Oh, or they could also watch the first episode because we are on YouTube and on
Okay.
Facebook. Yeah, it's on YouTube. And if you go, oh yes, guys, please remember to follow us.
Mhm.
Sky, I know you definitely have your own pages, but we also have Polly Haitian Hardy on both YouTube and Instagram. If you follow those pages, you'll see all the previous recordings so you can go back on the conversations. Thank you, Chris Lee. I'll look into it. Right now I have StreamYard. But yeah, so because our very first one was basically intro to poly, but we also try every episode to kind of touch base on what polyamory is. It's a quick thing before we go into our conversation. But if they've watched the first episode, it is on YouTube and Facebook. It's on my profile, my regular profile, Air Meet, Me Too Charles. And then on YouTube, it's on Polly Haitian Hardy. You'll find that information if you just want to have an idea of what we talked about. But definitely next show, we'll talk briefly about it because we always try to kind of summarize it,
Mhm.
so people actually know what we
What this is all about.
pretty much. Yeah. So, all right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. See you guys next
Wednesday,
Wednesday at
19.
9 p.m. for our next conversation. The next topic is going to be very informative and juicy at the same time.
Yep. And if you don't mind sharing this with at least 5 or 10 friends, we'd really appreciate that.
Yes, that's how we're going to build our little podcast and spread the word and spread the information like you guys are getting and participating in. Because I'm sure some other people would like to participate, but if they don't know, they can't.
Absolutely. Have a good night,
You guys
y'all.
have a good night.
All righty. Peace.
Bye.